Alright, hello everyone. Apologies for the late start here, but we are back with more Ace Attorney. Continuing with episode 3. Managed to, surprised we marathoned the last couple episodes of this game in like one day each, but I'm not expecting this to be a one-part episode. I'm sure we'll probably be going back to the usual half and half, I would think, but this game has been weird so far, so who knows what this is going to be like. I'm assuming this is going to be a normal case. It would only make sense after getting a court case and then also an investigation-specific case. That will probably get a normal case.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
So we doing a train? Oh, they're just getting off the train. Damn.
Amazing.
I was hoping we'd get a train mystery. That'd be sick.
Just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
Oh, finally someone who's not
In that case,
racist against them.
the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay.
Isn't this like
Welcome to the center of the world.
1900-ish?
Great Britain's mighty capital.
You're telling me there's not a single car on the road? They had cars since like the 1880s. I'm shocked that this version of Britain doesn't have any cars whatsoever. Stunned even. Surprise videos even allowed to be here. Well, they got it all sorted out, although I agree at some level. I'm also kind of surprised that he is allowed to come here at all, given like what he pulled on the ship. But I mean, they kind of needed someone to come here apparently. So here they are. He was eager to learn. He met the requirements and he was able to come, and they didn't have to cancel it because apparently it was really important to Japan for someone to go on this trip for some reason. Probably something we're gonna find out sooner than later, I would think. But no, he doesn't get shipped back because he basically the stipulation for this trip was it needed one lawyer and one assistant. He wasn't a lawyer, but he pledged that he would learn to become a lawyer in like 40 days so that he could go on this trip and technically be allowed to be here. Don't ask how that works, but you know, this is the same world that allows parrots to be cross-examined as legal witnesses. So I guess it was fine. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened the borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. This looks more like something out of a Layton game than something I would expect from Phoenix Wright. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's house, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time. If circumstances were different, we were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity, as envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So, we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. I hope he was studying. He said he would. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here. To have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. Hope I'm up to scratch. Is that the Lord Chief Justice now? Not quite what I expected, but... Oh. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Ugh, I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't be a mouse. Oh, It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Ah, yes, thank you. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, help. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? We had a wonderful view of some London streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition? The cultural and technological advancements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world, even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Actually, it finally did, recently. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. A Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. It's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, but I see that is true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means this study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo. This is it then. The moment of truth. When does this guy kill someone? I guarantee he already did. That's why he was an hour late. Why do you think he was almost 2 hours late to this meeting? He was off committing murder. It was in his agenda. But the thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, well, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Look at that cane he's got. That's like a perfect murder weapon in his hands. He just finished cleaning it. That's why you can't tell it's a murder weapon. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country. And that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is... Oh, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo. I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's... Actually, there is no one. Goodbye. We're going home. Wait, what if we just made her the lawyer? Time paradox. Game over, and then time paradox just comes on screen. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say? And you still claim to be a lawyer? I've acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me. And I was the accused. But glossing over the details... I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Burdia. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Well, not what you might call a full education. But to become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. Well, it's not like Kazuma was going to have any of that either. The guy was still in school as well. And yet he was, like, more qualified for this. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in a good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. Does he know what that implies? Like, I don't think he does, because I feel like this guy's not letting on to Kazuma's true goal here. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? Oh shit, is it quiz time? No, Smash? You know, you're not wrong. I see where you're coming from. Definitely. I mean, it depends how old he actually is. Given the white hair, there's certainly some assumptions you can make, but I'm not judging. So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an app trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? Ugh, how do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask what sort of trial it is, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. It's easy to say. You know, every time someone says you really can't lose, that means it's like the hardest trial imaginable. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? He's the Lord Chief Justice. I think he can. There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. Did you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi? I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. It's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? I have lost all hope for there to be false endings in this series. Even if it is written by the original creator. I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, Madame? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how bad... Oh my god! Man, my mouth has been, like, dry the last couple of streams here. Does it actually count the timers? I was always 50 seconds. I'm sure it's always 15 seconds. Dude, you think I haven't been drinking water? This thing's already fucking half empty. I don't know what's going on. It's been a while since we've had 2 different games that have been just heavy reading, I guess. That's my excuse. Is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable. I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, a particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait! Mr. Naruhodo! Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that... I was quite serious of what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence a judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. Really his only hope? Hey, it's better than nothing. So, what do you say now, Madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're gonna do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Can we examine while we're here? Never got a chance to do any of that. We got a minute to look around. Miss Susato, can I just ask you something? Careful. From this position, I can perform the Susato takedown in an instant. I know. Mr. Naruhodo, you heard Lord Strongheart. The trial starts imminently. If I need to throw you, I will. You know, you could just say, I think we should hurry to the courtroom. If you need to ask me anything, and bear wait till we're at the Old Bailey. Alright, guess we're not doing anything. I didn't have that option when we first got here. It was grayed out. So, how about that investigation portion? Really, really great, enthralling gameplay there. Oh, thank goodness we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. My teeth were gonna rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were gonna die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here. But there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. Feels like only yesterday that was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man who defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Yeah, he must be alone because he's not here with us. Is that our defendant? The Mad Hatter? What are yous doing following me here? Things are very desperate, are they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the East, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it? What? Say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. Well, I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to own name. And oh, well, a strange faraway land. Well, actually... we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Tis grand. Let me stop by giving yous 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? Oh, it's nothing to me at all. All like to show I have sufficient force to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. How much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Dude, you're a lawyer. You need to get paid. Say yes. This is a problem that seems to plague your entire family. That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving to you no strings attached. Well, I'll be waiting for wanting you to do something for me. Oh? But to be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but watch this little detail now. Oh, well, thing is, oh, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, well, trial's gonna start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bustwin, blazes, do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry, we've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. Well, I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there is the centre of London and another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? Well, it's just called McGilded Park. Full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did.
An entire park in central London?
Well, City of Smiles. What's my vision for London? Well, there's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its square old people. What's amazing? I mean, really extraordinary. But now I've got the goal to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What's the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Alright, don't pass out.
Mr. Naruhodo, perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath.
Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students, on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I?
Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you.
Oh, I think I see what's going on here.
Sorry?
I know what you're thinking. There's a chance of a fellow claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that is true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why, you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper.
Sorry, did he just say Reaper?
Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baroque Van Zykes. He's a prosecutor.
Prosecutor is the Grim Reaper?
Van Zykes stands for the prosecution. They call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
What?
So it's reached a desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey.
Goodness, what Baroque Van Zykes? You must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then.
Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madame. It's cursed.
Cursed? What on earth?
Finn is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin.
Counsel? That would be me.
Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down.
But I don't know anything about the case.
You haven't told me what happened. Well, till you showed your face here. I'd made up my mind, so I had.
Sorry?
I decided I'd have to defend myself in there.
How would that have worked?
But then you made an appearance. A student of law, would you know? It's no accident. I can assure you of that. Just fate. So don't get cold feet now. Please.
I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen.
Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late to the start of the trial, you'll lose your right to stand.
I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma.
because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Hey, you did it once before, you can do it now. It's not going to be any different. You didn't know anything about your case either, apparently. Turned out everything you knew was wrong about that one, too. Dude, this guy's getting paid more for his first trial. He's not even a lawyer yet. And he's getting paid more than probably Phoenix has gone and paid in his entire career. In one trial. That's because Phoenix never... I guess he never defended a rich person. The closest he had was Will Powers. But let's be real, that guy wasn't getting paid shit. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. Centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? So different to the Supreme Court in Japan. Feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. What? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. You're gonna have to get used to it, and fast. The Reaper? Is he a vampire? What the fuck? We got fucking Dracula on the stand over there. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully ready, really fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Dude, the guy's probably from the underworld. Look at his face. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. He asked if the defense was ready. That could be further from ready if I tried. This guy's gonna, like, fucking vault the bench and suck my blood. I'm calling it now. That scar on his face, that's how he originally got turned into a vampire. So one thing I knew about this game, the main prosecutor is basically Dracula. Yeah, it's kind of sick. I like it. Those eyes please me. Nipponese. Well, they start your fear. Your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine. All the way to the tips of my toes. Your spine doesn't go that far, though. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder. Capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, it is a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow is a steward for some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think the acts of chivalry to the great British Empire proud. Seems like everyone seems to like him. Are we sure this guy's as innocent as he says? I don't know, I can't shake the feeling that there's something wrong about this trial. Maybe he didn't kill this guy, but something. Seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded. Most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
I'm sure I need hardly to remind you. You 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
Oh, so that's what happened to the jury. They accidentally time traveled to the 19th century. That's why we don't see them after Apollo Justice. Understandable. You know, it could happen to anyone. It's like... Is it because he didn't work on Game 5? That's why there was no jury? They just, like, ran it back? They're like, no, we can't do that shit. We don't know how to... We barely know how to make a Phoenix Wright kit. We're not gonna add a jury to the whole thing.
Yes, my lord. If the task is to send Marauders to the gallows, where they belong, I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree.
Any criminals here will be soon wishing they never set eyes on me.
Okay, that's the killer. Are we gonna be allowed to accuse the jury? Like, this seems... One of these people killed this person. That guy's literally holding a knife, and this guy's drinking. Maybe he was like the carriage driver or something. Actually, no, that would make him not a... You couldn't be here if he did. I would hope he wasn't involved in the case that we know of.
I feel a chill.
Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these bits for my grandson. Master Naruhodo, those people are...
The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. And you never will. Actually, no, that's not true. Japan apparently did have a jury, and then they got rid of the jury, and then recently reinstated the jury.
That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view.
But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict?
That I don't know, but I'm sure it'll become clear as the trial progresses.
Yes.
Prosecutor Van Sykes. My lord, it's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you renounced your fame.
I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord.
Infamy rather than fame, I would say.
But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity.
So, what brings you back? Was there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware?
I leave that to your imagination, my lord.
So the Reaper's been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Probably because he knew you were gonna be here.
Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity.
We must be the only ones here who aren't aware.
The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason.
Sorry, thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that has been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here is the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard.
Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence.
report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well.
And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, Counsel?
Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? I mean, the guy's not wearing gloves now. Are we sure those are his gloves?
Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well.
Other gloves the defendant was wearing at the time of the incident. There's a blood stain on the right glove. How do we know that's the right glove? Oh, do we know? Okay, hang on a second here. Gonna predict it now. That's not the right glove. That's the left glove. We have no idea if those gloves are orientated properly. Those gloves look symmetrical on both sides. Like you could put them on either hand. You know, like oven mitts. I guarantee that's not the right glove. How did I get into this? I backed into a corner before I even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside the vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded.
Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you?
Are the jurors knew every case? That's a good question. I was wondering that too. Seems like Duck doesn't know. Chances are we won't see all of them at least. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, there's like 6 of them there. I hope they don't change every case. Part of me is like, wants to see new of them, but the other part of me, the part that has to like play the game, hopes that they're the same every time. For my sake. Or it's the right glove, but the client is a lefty. Yeah, it could be something like that too. The gloves are not going to be... That's not a cut and dry statement on that piece of evidence. We know how this goes.
Well, of course. I've no recollection of such a thing.
Mr. McGilded?
Well, to be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I take with a fierce tiredness. I always succumb to it.
So he killed him in his sleep. Got it.
Are you claiming to have been asleep? What is the motion of the carriage, my lord? Hilton it is, so it is. And when I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in me life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? Well, I was about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? Well, I reached out to give the man a hand.
Okay, no, the gloves are... Never mind. It was hard to tell in the little picture, but nah, you can clearly see that that's the right glove. That's the back of the hand of the left. That's definitely the right glove. So there's probably still some shenanigans going on here with the hands, but it's not the gloves. So the blood gone to the gloves then, after the man had been killed.
Unfortunately, that statement of the drivers is only the beginning.
What? That's not all of it?
There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order! Order!
When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Does that guy have heterochromia? Looked like one of his eyes was a different color.
Thank you, Counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear the testimony from these witnesses first of all.
Oh, your wish is my command.
Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Oh, we're doing this again, eh? Okay, we're all like saying that the defendant is Irish. Forget the defendant being Irish. What if Mr. Lucky Charms over here in the corner shivering to death? That's the real Irish man.
Witnesses, your names and occupations.
His eyes are heterophobic. Like, what you mean? His eyes are like, they hate, like, gay people or something? Or I guess straight people, not gay people, my bad. Ugh, I'm gonna need some more water before I fucking read any of these guys. These cases are gonna have so many characters and we're not even doing investigations. His eyes are the same color? Oh, they look different. Can I see him in the court record? Is he in there? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, it was just the lighting. It definitely looked like they were different.
My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city.
My name's First. Lady First. I, make hands for jets. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Quite right.
Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
I don't think Lucky Charms over here did it. Nah, I'm not getting that vibe from him.
It was the last omnibus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
How did any of these people, first off, how did anyone see it? Like, was the bus, like, this carriage not moving? Was it like two carriages parked next to each other? Is that how they witnessed all of this?
That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it.
But as soon as I heard the scream, I stopped the bus. And then I saw it too. An ambiguous testimony, I must say.
Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes.
I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
Yes, counsel?
Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Why not?
Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it?
As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes.
Well, in that case, how could these two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? What, two? Ryunosuke, can you not count? What do you mean two? There's 3 people on the stand. Well, there's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. That is a serious assumption there, Mr. Ryunosuke.
Oh, quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses?
Huh?
Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus?
Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning.
No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is.
What do you mean? The actual scene? How?
A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much.
Yes?
The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building.
Here? What? The entire carriage?
Bailiff, bring forth the stricken omnibus.
I like that the witness stand just breaks away. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. No, Beppo turned around after the scream and after he got stabbed. But he's still a witness on the stand. That doesn't... He's still here giving witness testimony. He is, by definition, a witness. Doesn't matter if his testimony sucks. He is a witness. There's 3 witnesses on the stand. Whoever Ryunosuke's spelling here is bullshit. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing.
As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus.
First generation double-decker right here.
And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing for a view of the interior from the seats above.
Or, you know, to allow a view outside from the seats inside. Ah, skylight. Oh!
There's a penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats of this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. So, through the skylight.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. I thought they were on like a separate carriage. I didn't realize that was like all one carriage.
Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence.
The 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof deck that night. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence?
Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary.
I can help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Are we gonna get to investigate it anyways?
Let us continue with the proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. I don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights.
Alright, my first cross-examination of British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus! Wait, can I examine the crime scene? Okay, well, I mean, it's not how I expected to examine it, but I mean, I guess this will do. I thought this was gonna be like our investigation portion. Probably should do this first, though. Get a feel for the scene. Whoa! Hello, people! Welcome. How's it going tonight, everyone? Corey's... Yeah, I mean, look, I do my best when it comes to doing the voices. That's why I'm afraid that I hope we don't get any more jurors than these 6 because of the, we still have 2 more cases. That's like 18 more people. You know, it's one thing to have to do all the witnesses and the defendant all the time. I'm trying my hardest here, okay? This is like the final boss in the series in terms of reading all this dialogue. Thanks, Wazigu. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see how it goes. It's always a fun time playing these games, so I like playing visual novels on stream for that reason. Even if it's like gets mixed results at the end of it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure.
Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly.
That's not good for us. Oh, unfortunately, this method of investigation means I can't tell what I have and haven't clicked on, although it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot.
Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we?
Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously.
Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck.
Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder?
Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight.
Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Okay, so here's my theory about how this is going to go down. The only person that could have seen the crime is the person who sat in the back. So I think our first cross-examination is going to be figuring out who was sitting back here, because unless the person in front careened their head like all the way back to look at it, whoever's sitting here is going to get like a perfect view of the crime, because it's like the seat's like right down there. So that's probably what we're going to have to suss out here. What if it was suicide? I mean, listen, it could be. We've done that before, or we've gotten close to doing that before. I can't quite remember. And the very last case technically was an accident, so we're breaking new ground here. It's not impossible. I'm not going to rule it out. If this was like the main series, I would be a little less inclined to believe. But this series is... these 2 games are clearly already doing things... new things for the series. The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for 2 gentlemen to sit side by side, really.
Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up into the roof deck, so she would have to be seated here.
A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? I feel like a kimono's a little less impractical than whatever the hell people were wearing in Victorian England. The seat has a handle, it seems. Ooh, what we got in here? This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running.
Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools.
Oh, feeding tubs. I thought it said tubes. I was like, what the fuck?
So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems.
There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure.
Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway.
My first British cross-examination, but first omnibus examination. Look, we came into this case completely blind. No information. I think it's only fair and appropriate that we examine the crime scene. It is our right to be able to do this. And we didn't get the chance to do it earlier. So it's nice of him, it's nice of Von Zeeks over there, to bring the crime scene to us. That's a poster for the Great Exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition.
Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event.
That looks an awful lot like the Eiffel Tower. Is there like some piece of British history I'm not aware of here? Ah, that's the poster for the Great Exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to Crystal Tower. Oh, okay. Just more of the same. Thought it was gonna be something different, considering it's not a picture. I think that's everything in here. It's weird not having any music while we examine this. I get that that's like par for the course with these evidence examinations. But considering this is... really? Really? Okay. Explain this one, please. This anachronism. I dare ya. That's it? That's all we got for the omnibus? I guess so. These seats count as something? Did we examine the seats?
This is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here.
So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they have to pay money to do so?
I can't imagine how cold it must feel.
That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment?
Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it kind of sucks to be up here. Why would anyone do it? No wonder the green guy was shivering. I mean, he was the driver, I guess. He has to sit up here all day. Alright, I think that's enough of that one. I'm sure these other two are kind of important too, though I think they'll be less relevant at the moment. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London.
Well, nothing will come of grumbling now.
No. By the way, is Mr. McGilded right-handed?
Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier.
Plot twist, he's ambidextrous. Pity. If only he'd been left-handed.
I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really.
Although I guess if he's ambidextrous, it doesn't really, that doesn't really get him out of jail scot-free here. Unfortunately. Alright. Thrice-fired Mason. Age 54. Brickmaker. 15th of February, between 10 and 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Alright, pretty straightforward stabbing then. Alright, back to the cross-examination, which, in case you forgot, was what we were actually here for.
It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well.
Wait. Oh, presses L. Not X. The fuck? I swear it was also X. Oh no, present is usually X. X was also not present, though. I swear the face buttons worked. Not in this game, but maybe a previous game. Why was I thinking the face buttons worked? Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, sir, that's right, sir. Every so cold, it was, sir, freezing, in fact.
And you had 4 passengers on board at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none.
So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then?
I have to say the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening. That last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the rent, you see. Yes, I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again.
Poor guy. He's not going to be here for the invention of internal heating.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight of the roof in the carriage? That's right. When you sit on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. So where were you sitting on the deck?
There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The 2 of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there was not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded.
can you be so sure?
Well, how can I put it politely? Mick Gilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I could have mistaken him for anyone else.
Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There is no room for doubt here. Ugh, I really wish there was.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened?
Didn't already testify to that.
Or a fair dinkum hard-working city banker is not considered trustworthy these days? I'm not gonna answer that. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Ugh, this is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's...
My lord. Juror member number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up.
Made up about what?
Well, I don't like stinking rich. Never have.
How rich are you, then?
They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me.
I feel like I fucked up here.
There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. What's my opinion on the matter, anyway? That is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors.
What is happening here?
Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts.
With fire?
Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Mr. Gillett said he was sitting on the opposite side. Yeah, I thought he did too. I thought someone said something about them sitting across from each other, right? They weren't sitting on the same side, so I think we can probably catch them on that. For sure. Seats backrest changes color when they cast their vote. Oh, yeah, it did, you're right. Ugh, now I'm even more worried than I was before.
Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance.
I thought the jury was supposed to, like, keep complete silent until the everything was over. And then they go into, like, a back room and make their decision.
Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
This is a nightmare.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you?
Yes, that's right, sir. I was on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge, great knife.
A grim sight indeed.
That didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before.
That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGill is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions.
Mr. First.
Oh, yes, sir.
Is this a knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir.
Is that...
Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart.
This guy is not beating the Dracula accusations.
That is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar.
Yeah, that does seem a little familiar. Hang on here. Who's all on our witness stand here? Interesting. Okay. Alright. Ugh, please no.
M for Magnus, perhaps, or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick.
Okay, he's not assuming. He's not assuming. Alright, we're off to a good start here.
It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
Ooh, fancy.
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned.
Maybe it was a family heirloom.
No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused.
Ugh.
Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel.
A largest knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentation suggests it must be quite valuable. The only difference between Japan and Europe currently, the giant scales. What if it's a W? Ooh, I like that. Wait, but if it is a W, that doesn't really help us though. Well, that kind of rules everyone out if it's a W. I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably Mason's. We gotta take this knife, take the heat off of Magnus over here.
My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption.
Juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGill is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and the gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Wait, what are you about to do?
Dispose of the rubbish.
Can we even win now? Like, that's like 3 people of... I guess it's 3 of 6. We could balance it out.
I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and crime. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I'm now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion.
Court couldn't hire a stenographer, so thankfully the jury just happened to be one. Not again.
That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. Only 2 left.
We've had it. Every time I press those witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse.
Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark.
I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly.
We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that'll give us a way to fight back.
But... Alright. I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Okay. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And, so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed.
I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here.
Oh, I didn't press that last statement. I'll go back to it. What am I supposed to do? Think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be...
But before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information.
Dude, yeah, these jury people are like really quick to make judgments here. That's what I'm saying. It's like this jury's I don't know how I feel about this jury. They're not you know, I mean, okay, look, it's early in the law system. Even for Britain, probably still working some kinks out. They didn't make the rule yet that the jury has to wait until all deliberations have been finalized.
We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witness statements again. A little more carefully this time. I forgot to press that last statement. I thought we were done.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see?
Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was.
And by the passenger, obviously you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this.
By the other passenger, obviously you are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded.
And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly.
What?
My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, sure, number 5. Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly aberrant to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though. As I said to myself.
Let me guess, you now heard all the facts, yeah. Yeah, of course.
But I've heard enough now. The horse is bolted, as they say.
No, please. Just keep an open mind, little...
Gee up now, Silver Blaze. A finish is in sight. Apo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir.
This is too unkind, sir.
This now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man.
Surely the kind old lady will see the truth here.
Madame Juror number 6.
Yes, dear. What can I do for you?
You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand.
Oh, yes, I certainly have. Still got my heart hearing, you know.
Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning?
Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. A gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life.
At least someone sees reason here. The juror has a personal connection to the case. Why is he here? Wait, yeah. You're right. That guy's like in charge of the fucking guild. That can't be impartial at all. Can we call him out? Is he not the real murderer then?
That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab somebody, surely.
Mother, may we go to the Gilded Public Library later and borrow some more books?
Did Britain have public libraries at the time?
It might have.
How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is?
What kind of a man is he?
The philanthropist Magnus McGilded. has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Oh, the crows! The Gilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before.
I told you there was something nefarious.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madame. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason this man have had to make use of public omnibus service?
You're not saying that.
As a victim, a poor brickmaker had next to nothing to his name save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debt. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded.
I don't believe it.
If I might add something briefly,
Miss Usato.
you claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's evidence to support your claim?
This guy just drinking in court? Well, I guess so is the juror. Who cares?
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Aha! There it is, Lord Van Sick's hallowed chalice!
How can this be considered acceptable? Oh, but we're just going to ignore the flask on the juror's stand.
But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself.
As judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job.
What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
Oh.
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence.
Catalog of people who had borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest. Includes the victim, who owed 20 guineas. How much is a guinea? I thought, like, Britain had, like, you know, pence and shillings and pounds at this point. I'm guessing a guinea is, like, some higher tier of monetary value. The gum chalice. No! It's blood, okay? It's not... It's red. It's obviously blood. This guy is Dracula. Like, he can't not be a vampire. This is Phoenix Wright. We have spirit mediums. It means we have to have vampires. Surely they exist.
Ah, yes, 20 guineas. A victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pull of my eyes. Regrettably, madame, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel.
Well, that didn't take long to convince her.
Still. Maybe it's all for the best.
Wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before...
I don't stand for nonsense.
Look, if your cum is red, you need to go see a doctor. Just saying. That was it. The last juror's decision.
According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here.
The final verdict. It's over then.
Oh. There's a footnote, though.
A footnote?
However, the defense...
All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections.
Quick, finish reading the footnote! Mr. Sato, just tell me one thing.
Oh, yes?
You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next?
Oh yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point.
Oh, so we get to cross-examine the jurors! Excellent! A summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century has that tome of you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say the book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck.
Oh.
What even is it, Mr. Sato? This so-called summation examination.
Oh, one moment and I'll read about it.
You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails? Typical Nipponese.
Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury.
To do what exactly?
Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed.
Make them reverse their decisions.
Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use.
I wonder why.
Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age.
Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked.
Yeah, it's because your book is outdated, he said. What if there's a newer version that says it was?
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
I mean, what are your options at the moment? Summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert the right to carry it out or admit defeat? I don't think we have a choice here, let's be real. Relics are still in use in the courthouse. Just look at the judge. Damn! He does look a lot older than the judge we all know and love, though. I do agree. Much older and more experienced judge, this one. Our judge still has his hair. Actually, no, wait. He has no hair. Never mind. This judge has hair, so I don't know what I'm saying anymore. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very high standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
That is such a soft and pathetic objection. You need to work on that right now. But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial.
The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination.
This is madness.
Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot.
This is most irregular. No mention of this was made before.
I don't really hold with all this justifying talk.
That seems to have thrown the jurors off.
Seems none of them experienced this before.
Alright then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for, to turn this trial around.
So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime.
I don't think there's like a specific year that has been stated yet, but it's pretty much like turn of the century. So like tail end of the Victorian era. 1890s, 1900s kind of thing. Although there's no cars on the street, which is a little weird for the time period. It's all just carriages. They did have cars.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. All passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
We stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
What if he like accidentally stabbed her with that knife? Like he's just throwing around that knife like it's nothing. Like what if he just accidentally stabbed her and now he's getting put on trial? I'm not gonna defend him.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
4? What do you mean 4? This guy can't even do math. He's too drunk.
A scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief.
I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now.
Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they?
Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language.
Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works.
Oh? I thought it was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant.
Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says.
But then...
They've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become.
Then what on earth am I supposed to do?
Oh dear. I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo.
Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then?
Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments.
What do you mean?
Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they're completely strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together.
And that's the way to break them down, you mean?
Yes, exactly. You must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, then we contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other.
Ooh, fight! Fist fight in the courtroom? I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination.
Oh, yes, I suppose you're right.
Hopefully we don't have to pit that guy with a knife against anyone. He's gonna probably win. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. It sounds like a psych book more than a law book. It's a pretty amazing little law book she's got in there. It's got all the answers, and it's, like, tiny. Also, it's able to fit in her sleeve, and it's not, like, weighing her kimono down. That's impressive. Maybe she's got, like, a little secret pocket inside there. The sleeves are big enough. I'm sure someone had secret pockets in those things.
Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord. That font must be microscopic. Well, I'm wondering if it's maybe not in English. It may be a book on English law, but I'm wondering if it's in Japanese, which would definitely allow it to be a lot more compact with its writing. I mean, there's a reason speedrunners always pick Japanese or Chinese if it's an option, because that's even more compact. Alright, so we can press every one of these statements still, so we're going to do that. And certainly the testimonies we've heard suggest the victim and Mr. McGilda were alone inside the carriage.
Precisely my point.
But, could there be some other explanation? It's something we haven't considered yet.
Such as...
Well, perhaps that's something we could, all work out together now.
Now listen here. Maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. But we're here to form our opinions as individuals. And I have.
Oh dear, doesn't appear to be in the mood considering an alternative point of view, does he?
No, I'm gonna have to pit the jurors against one another, like Susato-san said. Finding contradictions in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm going to succeed. I don't think pressing helps here. Well, it's not harmful, but we're still going to do it. It is tradition. Hasn't been harmful yet. They've only ever pulled that stunt one time, and they never did it again. I don't know why they never did it again. I think that was a pretty cool feature. I guess people really didn't like the idea of not being able to press. But does his ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is?
I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts.
Right, and who's your lordship exactly? I'm sensing a theme with these jurors here. Like, maybe this is all a coincidence, but they seem to have a personal stake in this case. Just a passing thought here. I see.
A single penny can mean the difference between life and death after all, can't it?
I wouldn't be able to relate. I'm from, like, the 21st century here. We don't even have pennies. That's a saying in your country?
The point is, a man who finds his figures is a man who you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir.
Does that bench really need any more polishing?
So if the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGill in the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left is to do today is disposing of the rubbish.
Ah, now wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think.
That would be a very good time to listen carefully to the jurors' statements again, Mr. Naruhodo. If you notice an inconsistency in what two different jurors are saying,
I should expose it by pitting them against each other. Yeah, let's see if I can do just that. I'm liking this song too. They had the soundtrack of this game. I feel like it was inspired by the Layton crossover a little bit. I mean, that game was like mostly Layton music. Like that was a Layton-ass Layton soundtrack with a Phoenix Wright flair. But I feel like some of that influenced this game. Just a little bit. Careful, you could hurt somebody with that. You're a fine one to talk. What of that sword hanging from your waist, No, that's just my battered soul. Well, anyway, I despise anyone with too much money. You know, he keeps saying that, but this guy's like dressed to the nines over here, wearing gloves and like a jeweled handkerchief around his neck. Got a big fancy top hat and gloves. We're all the same. All stabbing some breakmaker or other behind the scenes. You mark my words. That seems very unlikely, doesn't it? Are you mad, man? We know that small short is a rotten Shylock. Well, yes, that does seem to be the case, but...
Mr. Naruhodo, please, be careful what you say.
If he's been trying to squeeze money out of us less fortunate, well, as far as I'm concerned, he's as guilty as sin. The man can hang.
Come to think of it, didn't one of the other jurors have something to say about the defendant's underhanded activities?
You thought of something, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't let it go. Test your theory.
The two jurors whose statements seem to be contradictory against each other. No time like the present to use X to pit them against each other, or I'll never get anywhere. No, we're going to continue pressing. I don't not press, no matter how obvious it is. Yeah, like, I can't remember if the creator of the series, was he involved? Yeah, he was involved with Layton. That's why he didn't work on 5 and 6, because he was busy making Layton. So it should be obvious. I would think it's clear at this point that, yeah, he came hot off the heels of making the Layton crossover, went straight to this game. That's why it has like similar systems. Also why there are juries in here, because it wasn't in the other games, despite it being like Tease and Apollo. What have you been doing all this time?
What have you been doing all this time? There. I should have thought it was obvious. I'm recording everything that takes place as part of these proceedings.
And what have you learned from that?
For example, at this moment in time, the judge has used his gavel 11 times in total. The prosecution has snorted derisively at your remarks 7 times in total. And I might add, each time you have gawped like a simpleton.
Thank you. And what's the point exactly? What, keeping track of court records? Useless. Never be in court. Ever. So anyway, Madame, are you able to explain why you think the defendant is guilty?
That is a conclusion I have drawn as a result of the copious notes I have typed.
Clearly, but I'm asking you to explain why you've drawn that conclusion.
Please don't distract me. It makes it extremely hard to concentrate on my note-keeping.
This is going nowhere. Alright, this was the obvious one, paired with the money guy. But yeah, it seems like there's going to be multiple pairs that we have to worry about here. I thought it was just going to be one pair. That's how much it costs to take the omnibus?
That's right, as the Guildmaster has decided to set a policy for all drivers across the city. One fare, no matter which bus you take or how far you're going. We have to compete with the rise of the motor car, you see.
Alright, they acknowledged it. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
Us coachmen have to make us stand together.
Hey, you wouldn't want some new technology to come along and make your job obsolete or something, would ya? That would be unfortunate. Motor cars, you say?
Yes, and this murder on one of our buses is extremely damaging to our cause. It's beyond the pale. It'll lead to a decline in passengers, you mark my words. It's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay.
Is it the crime or his buses he's more worried about?
Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, well, that fellow in the dock is as guilty as sin.
Hold it!
I really think you should stop waving that needle around.
You heard what the good coachman said before, didn't you? That hideous man stabbed the poor fellow, just like this.
Yes, that's what he said. You're right.
The Gilded Park is such a lovely little place, too. I've always enjoyed resting my legs there while I get on with my knitting. And I had thought that anyone who donated such a delightful place must be a fine fellow indeed. I suppose I was wrong. Whoever would have thought he was a miserable murdering moneylender with not a scrap of remorse?
Oh, help. She's as sure as she can be that she's guilty now.
The lady certainly seems to know her mind, doesn't she?
Alright, let's see how this pitting thing works. So,
We just need to find 2 jurors with contradictory statements and pit them against each other. Which is much easier said than done. Is that perhaps what you were just thinking?
how did you know?
Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in just such a situation. Shall I read to you what I found out? It's a little long, I'm afraid.
Ah, I'm guessing that's a hint. I'm good.
Have to rely on advice right from the start. How will I get on later?
Exactly.
No, I need to work this out for myself now. Is that perhaps what you were just thinking?
How did you know?
Well, that sort of attitude is most admirable, Mr. Naruhodo.
I know what I have to do. Let's listen to those assertions one more time. Okay, so what do we have here? So we have no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. Okay, fine. I trust the driver has an excellent memory. It seems 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Okay, we're gonna start with this one because it's the easy one. Where is he? Fair fares was our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. 20 divided by 4 is 5.
Objection!
This contradicts each other. These 2 statements clearly contradict each other.
They do. Explain yourself, counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear on Silver Blaze's maiden name I haven't the first idea of what you're talking about.
According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. What is that guy's first name? I forget. Did we ever see it? I need the pun is needs to be known here. Oh, he's just Beppo. Oh, what's the joke here? Is it some like thing I'm not English enough to understand?
Quite right. I have these precise details typed neatly here in front of me.
And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That it is, a fair and convenient single price. It's the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man? Why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication,
It would be 16 pence.
exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. A third party! Or I guess 5th in this case.
1 person's fare?
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious. This can't be right. A coachman of the guild are good, honest men. Whether or not trustworthiness is our watchword.
We're not calling anyone a liar here. We're just pointing out the facts. No one has been accused of lying. That's the amazing thing here. Nobody has actually lied.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Well, right then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end,
Can he rescind his vote? There's 1 person more, they charge 5 pence. Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be 1 person. No, we need it to be 1 person more. Otherwise, this trial is kaput, and we lose. We have to introduce the idea, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there was another person inside the carriage.
Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the set of scales.
She says it like it's a normal thing that anyone can do. Just launch a ball of fire, easy.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why have you got to go in? Wait till I get my hands on you, Bethel. This is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same.
Well, she need no convincing.
For the love of Mike, or not you as well.
Who's Mike?
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in the financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witness again.
Mike, launch a ball of fire. Mike, kill that man. The guilty man, not our person. Leave him alive, please.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue.
2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions.
And that's where you must strike next.
I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions.
Exactly. You can do it.
Well, scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
Alright, what was the other statement here? There's no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. So we could probably use that one. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Okay. A useless statement. We already used him. Scoundrel stabbing a poor man on the floor. Okay, hang on. Which one was it? Yeah, next to him.
Objection!
Was he on the chair or was he on the floor? Actually, we know he was on the chair, because that's what the picture shows. Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel. Post haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half.
What is all this, Claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you?
We've heard from more than one witness. that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror member number 3.
What? Can't you see I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Want to test me, do you?
Wait, actually, hang on. How does this guy even know how this person was stabbed? How do either of them know how this guy was stabbed? They're not witnesses, they're jury members. They don't have any stake in this case. That's the whole reason they're up here and not down there.
It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. Just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror member number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madame?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now don't move. Take a look at those 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. We're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle.
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh.
Why? Why the dickens would they lie?
I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies.
Why does this old lady have, like, better desk slamming skills than the actual lawyer? Come on, Naruhodo, you gotta step it up, man.
The scales.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it was interpreted from the witnesses, you're right. I forgot that they, like, straight up said that. Which, yeah, you know what? That's a good point, though. That means then the witnesses are also contradictory, so we're gonna have to double back on that one once we go back to the cross-examination.
Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all.
What? If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Answer me this, Doc Jinx.
Huh? But me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events?
What of it?
Well, let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, when this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and the Shylock stabbed him again, when this old lady saw him do it.
Okay, well, first of all, neither of them saw him do it because they're jury members and not witnesses. So let's get that straight.
Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? Who you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you.
Is that a threat?
Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you.
Alright. One trial is enough for now. We don't need to make threats and make more work here. Ugh, they're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? It's true. There's an outside chance of almost anything you care to mention.
Exactly the point I've been trying to make.
Before you go any further, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, what is it, Miss Susato?
I think you should have a look through the court record.
Ah.
You see? This evidence makes it quite clear. There isn't even an outside chance of what the jury is saying.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he, like, was on the floor and then he got back up. Or people saw it from different angles. That's kind of what I was thinking with this whole thing. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you Dark Jinx? Come on, out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What? What are you talking about, man? Why can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. Well, as foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction.
Yeah, we're doing a shit job of it.
So, where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. You say that's out of the question? Show me some proof.
Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Like, I did read the autopsy. I thought it was, like, possible that maybe it was, like, just a weird angle or something. It's not that he was necessarily on the floor, it's just that's the way that someone was looking at the crime scene. It would have been, like, a weird angle to look like they were on the floor. That's why I said that. I am fully aware of what the autopsy says and what the photograph shows. I did not forget about them in the slightest. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by...
Take that!
It's clear piece of evidence. Well, Mr. Foreman, it would hardly be the first time that they went down that route.
You know what they say about me, young man? They say I've got no powers of persuasion.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear that.
But no one will need persuaded about this. You're even worse than me.
What do you mean that's not right? Okay, I guess I'll use the carriage. The thing shows him clearly sitting on the chair, though. You can't tell me that the photograph isn't good enough. Fine, I'll do the autopsy then. I guess, okay, this one does specifically say single stab, but I mean, we're talking about two different angles, one being on the floor. I thought maybe the photograph was enough to discredit that because it's clearly the guy sitting on the chair. If we're not going to go down that route. Okay, I don't know why you're all mad at me. I think it's a perfectly valid thing. Have you not been paying attention to their statements? Because the photograph would have definitely contradicted the whole thing and proven with beyond a shadow of a doubt the whole shebang about not being on the floor versus on a chair. Did you forget about that little fact? There's nothing wrong with presenting the photograph. This does say specifically one stab. I will give it that. But the photograph contradicts the other part of the same statements. And that the contradiction between where they were stabbed. I don't know, I think both matter. What's wrong with, like, both mattering? There's nothing wrong with both mattering. Where and how many times I think are both relevant in this given situation, and I think it was fair to think that the photograph was a correct piece of evidence. We are discussing both. We are discussing the contradicting statements. Because what the jury is saying right now is that the two people I pointed out as having contradictory statements do not have contradictory statements. And now I'm presenting evidence to prove that they don't have contradictory statements. Those statements said that the guy was stabbed in two different spots. And then this guy was suggesting that they're two moments of the same crime. One of those spots was on the floor, not on the chair. Guess what piece of evidence shows a guy sitting on a chair? Would you look at that? It's him sitting on a chair. Guess what other piece of evidence also shows that there was blood on the chair, confirming he was sitting on the chair and therefore not in two different positions, one of those being on the floor. This piece of evidence, because the blood is only on the chair. So yes, this does contradict the amount of stabs, but these two pieces of evidence show that it contradicts the other half of the statements. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. We're proving that those two statements have contradictory statements? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. That was the whole point of this. This guy thinks that the jury members are not wrong. And we're presenting evidence to say that, yes, you are wrong. Now, originally, I did think that it was possible for them to be seeing the crime from two different angles because we have done that trick before in other cases earlier in the series. So I thought, okay, I guess we're doing that again. But no, we're playing it straight this time. Guy was stabbed one time on the chair, no questions asked. None of these shenanigans about technicalities and like, oh, well, someone viewed it from this angle, so it looked like this thing, and someone viewed it from this angle, so it looked like this thing. Nope, just straight up, guy was on the chair, stabbed in the chest. End of story. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Did his knife just disappear? Wait, where'd his knife go? What? Am I crazy? Was he not just like trying to yank it out of the desk 2 seconds ago? And now it's just gone? And now it's not in his hand either? Okay. Alright, I concede defeat. Yeah, that transition didn't really work. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won. I don't know. I'm going to stand by my statements that there was nothing wrong with me presenting that evidence. Or even with me siding with the juror here. I explained my case. I don't know how to make it any clearer. It made perfect sense to me. We've seen it before. In a different case, I would have been correct in saying those things.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we're on a consensus. I said, shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defendant's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate. And the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth.
The way he was stabbed is going to be done later. It might. Why would they reuse a twist? I don't know. Maybe because they've done it like 30 different times? Do I need to explain how many times we've used the whole, oh, I didn't turn over the paper shtick? Oh, wow, look at this key piece of evidence on the other side of the paper. If only I knew how to flip paper over. They subverted it in this game. But that's a first. Technicalities is literally the middle name of this series. There's no reason for that to have been incorrect, necessarily.
So, Lord Van Zix, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
This guy's gonna run out of wine. I mean blood. Juice. Oh, okay, never mind. He's just done drinking.
Having savored the bits of aroma of the common contents of this hollow chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zix!
Oh, is it cold in here, or is it just me?
As your antiquated dome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honor the deathly silence and listen to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. As there is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Ooh, the cloak's coming off. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir, I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir, I heard it. You, sir, on the end. The coachman, I believe it's, Beppo. Yes, sir, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Okay, this game has now mentioned perjury twice. I'm gonna hold this game to it. If someone actually commits perjury, I want to see the game acknowledge it. Oh mio Dio, Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it. But, well, I for one was told to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fitted us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes, he stabbed him, he did. I think so, yes. You think so? Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. As a phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned astute friend never existed. As the confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little, gunzinage. Explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging the passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. A disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures. I see what you did there. Good joke. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the displeasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games.
Absolutely. Alright, what are the lies of these people telling?
Hold it!
Are we sure there wasn't just like a fifth passenger that jumped aboard without him knowing and was the murderer, but also nice enough to pay the fare? So there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right?
It's possible to make the last run of the day pay. I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself from passing out.
I'm getting chilblains just listening to you. What? Is that word?
It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running.
How cold is it in this building?
Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger?
You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. Only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. Then we would have had another suspect.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4?
Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir.
I just told you I did.
5 pence across the board.
It's not something to be proud of.
The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone. Dead. And buried.
I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight, you mean the murder, I presume?
Yes, sir.
A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horrors of the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken.
Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it.
So does that mean the banker was sitting in the back seat? Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant.
I heard the banker would gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? Well, that's when I looked through the glass.
Next to you? I thought only 2 people could sit up there. You guys were sitting next to each other?
Well, that's when I saw the horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood.
Oh no, I guess they could have been, because it said that there's a capacity of 8, right? So it would be 2 per bench. Okay, yeah, I guess they could have been sitting next to each other. Unless it's gonna turn out one of them wasn't sitting in the back bench.
Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
Juror 5's facial hair is in the shape of a horseshoe. You only just noticed that now? I mean, it took me a few extra seconds to notice it too. Just like this guy's nose over here is in the shape of a carrot. But I don't think his name has anything to do with carrots. A condition that causes inflamed, swollen patches and blistering on the hands and feet. That sounds terrible. I've never heard that word before, and I hope I never hear it again. Why are they all in top hats? Because it's the 1800s. That's why they're all in top hats. That's like asking why is every woman wearing like a giant dress? Because it's Victorian England, and that was the style at the time. Everyone had suits and top hats, unless you were like dirt poor and lived on the street. I mean, dresses can be cool, but like, you want to walk around? Okay, imagine walking around in a dress with giant hula hoops strapped to your body. Do you want to walk around in that? Do you think that's practical? Because that's what they wore. Through some of Victorian era, they wore giant hoop skirts, like literal hula hoops, put in the dress to make the dress like 5 miles wide. They made them out of whale bones, and it was like a skeleton for the dress, and they would put that on, and then they would put the cloth part over top of it, and that's what they would walk around in. What are we doing here? This is where I least expected us to be. What? Okay, where did you expect us to be? Apparently, you're not the only one that is confused by the events proceeding right now. How's it going, Poutine? Welcome.
Hold it!
We are currently discussing the matters of how a man died in a carriage with multiple witnesses who apparently saw the crime and a thieving crook of a carriage driver who is overcharging his passengers against the wishes of his guildmaster, who is currently drinking on the stand, mind you. But so is the prosecution, so I mean, I guess that's just normal around here. So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGill, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him.
That's what I said, isn't it?
It was bothering me before, this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question.
Anyway, there was only 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there?
There's been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as of yet, 0 evidence.
Well, what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. Man's guilty.
Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. His name, too. A name like that, he's super guilty. Wish I could work out what it was. Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you?
Oh, yes, that's right.
You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip.
I suppose. I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse. Maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck.
Oh, I expected that was me, sir.
Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Yes.
So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all.
I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I?
Yeah, you got something to say about this?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment that fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could you have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Some days are like that. That makes me think that's wrong. No, he couldn't have. He was driving the carriage. Why? If he saw him, either A, he wasn't driving the carriage actively, or B, he's a shitty driver. But then again, since he's overcharging his passengers, I think we know what the true answer is. But no, there is no chance. Let's be realistic about this one. Surely he didn't see it. Well, it's a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, that is.
Speaking, I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clearly as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about exactly what you saw. Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
Hold it!
Blood-soaked?
Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over him. Both of them were covered in it.
And you saw that from the roof? Through the skylight?
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on the inside carriage as well, so I'm sure of what I saw.
This banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. When you feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo, that's when you should have a good look through the court record. Okay. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful of where you press these witnesses, danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful, as they did before. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as the reason. Yeah, I mean, the gloves come to mind for sure, but why? Let me check this statement again. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands? Oh yeah, because he says hands. But the man was wearing gloves. I mean, realistically though, yeah, it's a technicality. I would have said hands too, even if I knew he was wearing gloves. Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I admit that soap might be laying on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Miss McGilda, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Wait, is that what we're catching him on? Because he said hands plural? And now he's deep-throwing his cane. Okay. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. The plural was not the part I was getting at. I thought it was just the fact he said hands and not, you know, gloves. But no, apparently hands is the S is the important factor here. One singular letter.
But no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar here then?
That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said it was both hands.
He didn't say both hands, he just said hands. Did he say both hands? Did he use the word both? Blood-soaked hands. It's literally one letter. I would have said the same thing. I would have said hands, even if it was one glove, englovened hand. That is like the most technicality of technicalities. But I guess we're desperate, so it's understandable. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed. But is that really the truth?
Objection!
He later said both hands the moment you presented the gloves. Yeah, after I presented them. but the statement I was presenting them on only used an S to denote the fact that it was plural. If he said both, okay, yeah, maybe. I would be a little more inclined to agree with the idea here that we're catching him in a lie. It's literally one letter. Any normal person would have probably said something similar, even if they knew it only meant one hand.
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only on one. The fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
See, even the prosecution agrees with me. This is going a little too far. No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. He did not say that either. You could ask our resident volunteer stenographer as well. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Because he used the letter S. I'm on the side of the witness here. Like, we're hounding him right now, and I agree with the notion of it, but man, I feel bad for the guy.
Why? Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. Was that really the case?
Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely.
Something to show that this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. Is the suspect a butcher? No, this guy, he says he's a banker. Unless he's lying about being a banker. Maybe he's actually a beaver. I mean, the way he's chewing on his cane could possibly be. This guy's a milliner. And this was the driver of the bus. And this guy, the victim, was a bricklayer. And our defendant is a wealthy philanthropist who is also apparently a loan shark. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. You know, we never checked the ledger here. Let's do that. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry.
Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside?
Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Corey being wrong? How is I wrong? Am I the only one here that thinks it's going a little too far to like call this guy out for using an S? That's what we're still hung up on, right? Like, I would have said the same thing, but I would have known full well that it's not the case. The prosecution makes a good point here. Like, he just said hands. Like, it's just a generalization. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, you're still talking about the other time. Okay, well, I already explained my case on that one, too. You should understand full well, after having played through all, like, 8-something games of this series and all the things I've seen, that what I said there and what I presented is perfectly in line. It wasn't correct this time, but I still hold that it would have been correct somewhere else. Actually, I wonder.
I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside.
Well, let's see what we find. What if we do, though?
Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it?
Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off.
Goodness.
What is it?
Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me?
Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually.
Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying this very moment.
Oh, yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? Guineas, did he? And look at the repayment date is fast approaching.
It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. But this could be very useful information.
Okay, this guy's like super fucking guilty now. We just have to prove how he could have done it. There's our evidence. Yeah, there is evidence. I have it right here. My lord,
Yes, counsel.
the defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony.
Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded.
Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion.
But the point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Sounds like a person that would play chess. See, I told you, this guy's name, he was super guilty from his name alone, because there's no way his name was not ironic. You don't call someone Fairplay and then like make him completely innocent. Especially in this case about money.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
Fairplay sounds like the kind of guy who played chess with a set of vibrating anal beats. What the fuck? Dude, I mean, okay, you know what? Yes, I can see it. I mean, look what's going on right now. He's not denying these allegations. Remember that controversy? Which one? He's innocent for killing. Nah, he's... I mean, it could be a red herring. But then who else would have done it? The driver?
No. Well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say?
Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the court defendant.
Yeah.
It's gonna like chew straight through that cane.
Order! Order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, my lord?
Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell us the truth in your testimony.
All right, then let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood in Mr. McGild's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained.
So you keep saying.
Are we sure they're his gloves?
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens.
Seen what?
Well, the blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think... yes, I'm almost sure it was on both of his hands, not just one.
So at the end of the day, I was right. We did go too far. Would you look at that? And there's totally no basis for me to feel this way because I had no idea this would have happened.
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yes. Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes. Might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Good. Yeah, I mean, do we know this was this guy's glove? Look who's wearing gloves right now. Look at the only person in this courtroom that's wearing gloves right now. And not only that, they look strikingly similar to the ones submitted to evidence. How do we know that Mr. McGill even wears gloves? Why do we think these gloves belong to him? There's no fingerprint testing. We're still a little ways off from that being invented. Definitely no DNA testing. So why do we think those are his gloves?
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
And how do we know that maybe, perhaps, that guy over there is still wearing a single bloody glove? I don't know how or why he would have swapped one of the gloves with someone else, but maybe he still has a bloody glove on.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
I did not actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard the scream. Anyway, the fact remains. There can't have been anyone else inside that carriage. We all would have seen. Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside the carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony is about.
Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Did I check the luggage department? I did. It was just full of, like, general, like, repair materials and other things for the carriage. You know, it's the place where the spare tire is stored. That kind of thing. Where you'd put, like, the spare tire and the jack and maybe, like, a jump pack and stuff. It was just that kind of materials.
Hold it!
No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm well aware of that, sir. But nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both of his hands.
He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Wait, can the seat cushion be removed and swapped? That's a good question. There wasn't any evidence of that being possible. I like that theory. But pretty sure I clicked on everything inside there and they never noted that the seat cushions were removable. I would imagine they're not. Just because of, like, how that kind of thing would have been made back then. Like, that would have been upholstered straight to the hull of the carriage, for sure. It's not impossible, but I'm kind of doubting it. It'd be a cool idea, though.
The reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers.
don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know.
But... for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could have possibly done it. I was just, trying to save us all some time.
You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from the financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty?
That's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all.
How much is a guinea? Okay, this is bothering me now. Like, this guy's like casually going around like dropping 10 guineas on a horse derby. 1 British guinea. In dollars. That's a different kind of guinea. Alright, here we go. A guinea is a coin. We know that. There's a coin minted in Great Britain between 1663 and 1814 that contained approximately 1/4 of an ounce of gold. What's its value? The first English machine-struck gold coin, originally representing a value of 20 shillings in sterling specie, equal to £1. What rises in the price of gold relative to silver caused the value of the guinea to increase, at times as high as 30 shillings. Up to 1816, its value was officially fixed at 21 shillings. At 2023 prices, the purchasing power of an 1815 guinea was about £98. That's it. Not even $100 in today's money. That's nothing. This guy's making it sound like this is like some rich amount of money. It's nothing. I don't think Japan was that poor, was it? 1,000 guineas? That's like, okay, that's like $10,000 in today's money. That's still not a whole lot. They're high value coins to be sure, but they're not like insanely high value. It's no different than like walking around with a couple $100 bills on your hand. That's really what this is. Now, I mean, okay, yeah, 10 of them, that's like $1,000. That's a little more. That's something. But still, I thought these were things were worth like way more than that. But we're talking like this guy just walks around with hundreds in his pocket.
I was gonna win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend that's a sure thing.
That's what they all say. A little guinea or 10.
I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. This witness's scruples are not entailed here. Proceed to the next witness.
Is that really how it's supposed to work? Not that we were offered 1,000 to defend the man. Yeah, 1,000 of them, I guess that's... Okay, see, that's a lot of money. That's $100,000. You're right. That's a pretty significant sum. I'm willing to care about that amount of money. Stealing from a bank is a massive crime. He didn't say he stole from the bank. He just said he borrowed money. What do you think a bank is for? He borrowed money from the bank. He took out a loan, obviously, to go spend on gambling, like any sane person would.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands?
Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded's gloves had any signs of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir.
He wasn't wearing these gloves.
That's correct, sir. When I saw the blood on both his hands on his bare hands quite clearly.
That's true, the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. What if the bloody gloves were planted on him?
should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilda's gloved hands.
It wasn't blood on his hands?
This is a puzzling indeed.
This must be significant somehow. I'm sure of it. There's a lot of confusion here. Did he have gloved hands or not?
Hold it!
You didn't see anything?
Oh, yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir. I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and to say I stabbed the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories.
Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it?
No, sir. I saw nothing at all.
Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? Or are you implying you drove with your eyes closed, sir? Look, if we can catch the other guy out for using an S and meaning it, I think we can catch this guy out for for saying he didn't see anything, which means he was driving recklessly, and we should point that out. Very important. Oh, please, you didn't even see that?
It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. So sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Fair pull!
Wait, it's his gloves, but the killer was wearing a similar hat and blocked view.
Hold it!
Ooh. But then again, he was driving recklessly, and we should point that out because that's not safe. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the roof of the omnibus?
That's right. It was fiercely cold out that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh? Why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right. And it's a public bus service. He's sick. That's what I call fair play.
Yes, I had the exact same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you it wasn't just looking down. I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed.
But if you were sitting in the back seat, would you have noticed?
Unequivocal, I would say.
I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What? My golly, really?
Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Just ask him which seat he was sitting in. Don't make any leading questions, just be like, and what seat at the top of the omnibus did you sit in that night?
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the areas on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus you're suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
I mean, right here. They're here. You look down, you see this side. You're not seeing this side. Unless you're here and you turn your head backwards and look here. But you're not going to be turning your head and looking backwards and looking here and seeing the moment of the crime, because you're not going to know to look down until the crime's already happened, and these guys back here are like freaking out because they just saw a guy get murdered. And if not on the seat, inside. Which is in the same side anyway, so it doesn't matter. No, like the gloves presented were from our client, but another person came by with a different hat. Different fit, same hat. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we know the bus driver is wearing the same gloves at the very least, so that alone is suspicion enough. If this guy can get off scot-free, this banker, then it's got to be the bus driver. Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one in which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In the British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Okay, they both said they were on the roof. Yeah. They were on the roof. Okay, we're gonna still believe that, I think. He was driving it, and one of the jury members can attest to that. That's the victim. We know where he was sitting on the left. I mean, for our sake, I sure hope he was sitting next to him like the witness claims. Can we accuse the prosecutor? Maybe he was taking the bus that night. Or him. I don't know, that's probably a bad idea. Let's maybe not accuse him. I have no idea what it could be. Because they said the killer was beside the victim. Oh, right! I guess, yeah, if we're taking their word for it, then yeah. Oh, I have an inkling then. No, you're right. The killer was beside him, so that means that our defendant would have been on the opposite side, away from the killing. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. Oh, I got a new glass. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The offense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was...
Take that!
the passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see
has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
Right, because if the witnesses actually witnessed the murder... Oh my god, he did the thing. He actually did it.
What is a man? If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive this courtesy. Lord Van Six. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own, but I see they use the terms ill-advisedly.
What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
Oh, I know where the blood on the glove came from. But that premise may be wrong.
What?
Well, if the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the glory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party which we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
Right, because they can never confirm the faces, they just assumed it was McGilded.
And who was this third party?
Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary!
Now all we need is two girls. Really, we really went there? That's where you went with this joke? Maybe one of those girls could be our killer. And then I'll accept it.
Order! Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
No, they didn't actually clearly state that. They were unsure. But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I can only see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember.
And you call yourself a hatter?
The style of the hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin.
How can you be sure?
Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. Is that the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled?
Yeah, actually, I am going to propose that. That's 100% what I'm gonna do. He's right. If there's another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Although that would cause a contradiction, because then that third party would not have been sitting next to the victim. Would that mean that McGilded was sitting next to the victim, after all?
Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
As the prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely?
Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian.
If it indeed turns out that the man has been withholding information,
you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord? Should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Yes. We need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say.
It would be utterly illogical to not hear his testimony.
Well, something needs doing to get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
She's so wishy-washy.
Yes, jury stand is the man should be heard. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
He was asleep, you're right. I forgot about that, actually. I was gonna go in a different train of thought, but I was thinking, like, wait, didn't he say something like that? I couldn't remember for sure. But thank you for reminding me. He did indeed say he was asleep. So maybe we'll get to hear about that. Although I do think I'm not necessarily wrong with my theory that I've got cooking here. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear.
Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
How long is this part of the case? I was like hoping we'd get it to be continued, but I don't recall us getting anything like that yet. I mean, considering how the rest of this game's gone so far, I'm not even surprised. I am kind of surprised.
Just be sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus captain, as proposed by the defense. Or the second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Surely soon, right? Yeah, I mean, we'll keep going. I want to hold out for a proper like stopping point here. I'm not gonna just stop it. I thought that was gonna be the stopping point. It was gonna be like, oh, we're gonna go to recess, so we can prepare. You can prepare the defense, and then it would have, faded out like every other game.
My God, no! 'Tis not my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or keep my mouth shut?
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded?
The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. On the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true. Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
So you're admitting to be an accomplice to murder? Well, pack it up, folks. We're done here. You... what? Why would you do that?
No, Magnus McKilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. Oh, I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Ziggs. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. Oh, I do believe having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was... well, little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, well, I've assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into his here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. Then who was this young child of whom you speak?
Yeah, once there is a TBC, we will 100% be stopping. Don't worry. But I'm gonna try and see how long we can go before to get one. Accomplice means he isn't the killer? Yeah, but accomplice is still guilty. Accomplice means he helped the killer. I don't know about you, that's practically the same thing in my book. It's definitely something less than innocent in the court's eyes.
That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
What? What? Who's firing guns or firecrackers or something or... What is going on?
Careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Okay, there's our to be continued. Let me guess, there was a child in the luggage compartment, the one where Magnus was sitting on top of. Well, see, okay, so that's the contradiction I was getting at earlier. You know, I'll explain it. I'm sure this is going to be the end. I'll explain myself after we're done here. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. There it is. Okay, so yes, that is what I was thinking. Was like, I forgot about so at the time I forgot about the whole he was asleep thing a little bit. I was like, did he say that? I couldn't quite remember, but I didn't want to base my theory on it. And the contradiction though being, yeah, if he was not sitting next to the victim and he was on the other side, on the side that you can pull the seat up, how the hell did the person underneath stab the guy across the way if he was sitting on the seat? This was all before we knew it was a kid, and apparently this kid's innocent. But yeah, it was a contradiction. I thought I was like, well, okay, but if he's sitting on the other side, then how'd the person come out of the seat and pop out and stab him, right? So then I'll go back to, okay, well, maybe Magnus was sitting but next to the victim, and the other guy was like still in the seat, and that's why he didn't notice. But if he's asleep, we could easily have a third party on the other side, and the whole notion that Magnus was on the opposite side is just completely bogus. It's not impossible. That's just something that we suggested to the court. Because the witnesses can't tell for sure if the guy that was sitting next to the victim was Magnus or not. And they couldn't see the other side, so we don't really know for sure where Magnus was sitting. And I'm guessing when we finally get Magnus's testimony, we can clear that up. I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. Kid is 100% innocent because Magnus was sitting there. That's why he let him go. Yeah, I mean, that's assuming he was on the other side, right? I mean, let's be real. I don't think this series is ever going to accuse a child. We can just rule that out right now. Well, okay, maybe not formally accuse. We've gotten close, but at no point are we going to, actually find a child guilty of murder in this series. Let's be real here. It's not going to happen. I don't think this game is going to go that far. This doesn't seem in its nature. So yes, the kid's probably 100% innocent. It is, however, another witness. But then it begs the question, who the fuck killed him? I still say it's the bus driver. How? I don't know yet. But the guy's got the gloves. The guy was already upcharging everyone for the fares. Probably was fed up with something. And just took it out on the Mason for some reason. We had a complete accidental death last time. There was no one that was actually responsible for murder on the boat. So we could have something like that here where it's just like, yeah, I killed him because I was mad. Could be the answer. Be a little underwhelming, but it could be the answer. This has been the stream you've laughed the hardest at in a while. Well, good. I'm glad that I could provide something, even if it's from apparently my own stupidity. I still stand by those statements. They made sense in the moment, and they would have made sense in literally anywhere else. Trial Part 3. We went through Parts 1 and 2? Actually? When did we do Part 2? Hang on here a second. How are we on Part 3 of this trial? This is the first to be continued we've had all case. We've already done Parts 1 and 2, though. What was Part 2? The jury thing? Well, no, but it says Trial Part 1. Or Part 3. Every other of these collections, when they say trial, they mean literally when you're in court. The moment you start court, that is Trial Part 1. Anything before that is investigation. So I am inclined to believe that when it says Trial Part 3, that means we had Trial Part 1 and Trial Part 2 after we had investigation, which in this case was just a cutscene essentially. So it would have gone investigation, Trial Part 1, Part 2, and now we're on Part 3. So when was Part 2? Yeah, this is a 4-part with no investigation. Well, I mean, in some ways we had an investigation because, we even had the menu. It was a formal investigation. It was just extremely short, and it was only one environment. That's it. But we did have the investigation as a gameplay mechanic. It was in investigation mode. It wasn't in court mode. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, well, here. Trial Part 2, the Old Bailey. Maybe you are right. Maybe it is just technically a 3-parter then. Maybe that whole thing from the moment we got to court to now and the smoke dropped, maybe that was just Part 2. Maybe that is how the game is tracking it then. Yeah, there's the autosave right there. All right. Weird, because if this was one of the other entries in the collections, I'm pretty sure it would have counted the investigation as a separate part, even if it was insanely short. Yeah, I think you're right, Duck. This game's probably counting them slightly differently, because it's the Old Bailey that has to be the start of the trial right there. 11:42 p.m. I mean, it's not. It's 10 minutes ago, but still, something like that. All right, well, that is one hell of a cliffhanger to leave on. Was not expecting someone to attack this courtroom. That seemed to have been a running theme in the more recent Phoenix Wright games. We had the bombing in 5, and of course we had what's his face, Rebel in 6, constantly bombing things. I think he didn't he come into the courtroom one time and like do his old shtick. Pretty sure he did. And now we got a new person smoke bombing everything. How much you want to bet it's the kid? I mean, it happened literally right after it was suggested that the kid that he helped escape is in the very courtroom. Probably them. They probably bombed this whole thing. Which means they're not innocent, because one, they just attacked the courtroom, and two, they'd have no reason to do that if they were innocent. They're covering something up. Alright, well, we'll find out next time. Hopefully we didn't end on, like, the very end of the case, but, I mean, we just got the to be continued. I trust those to be continueds to be at a good stopping point. So I'm sure we won't have, like, a really short... I mean, it's fine. We'll just continue with the next case. I like to have clean, like, start and stops, meaning that it would be unfortunate if we had to do the investigation of Case 4 the same day we finish Case 3. But, you know, if we do, we do. Whatever. So I trust, though, that we'll probably have quite a bit of court left. We'll find out next time. I will be back Thursday with some Mario 64. And we hopefully have some Minecraft this Friday. We got some more Tevi on Monday. And then, yeah, we'll finish this case next Tuesday. Has 2 segments left. He said it was a 4-part. Okay. Well, and hey, I guess we definitely will have enough case then. Good. Either way, thank you all for watching tonight. And I will see you next time.